Hello, welcome to another edition of The Lover's Heart. I was going to talk about the first thing, the reasons why I was doing this book. I was writing this book. It's a 12-part series. So the first 8 chapters, the 8 chapters of Songs of Solomon, that's 8 books, because each chapter of the Song of Solomon will be a separate book. I'm going to break every verse down and show you what God showed me when I was like 10, 11 years old, and then repeated that to me again in May of 2022. I'd gone for a retreat, and I was going to seek the Lord's face because I was in the process of planting a ministry in Atlanta, Georgia, or in Georgia, not Georgia, and things just changed. And the Lord was, you're writing this book and you're getting it out in 30 days. I said, no, Lord, I can't do it. And then moreover, I said my relationship, I'm not a relationship expert, and I don't want to talk about relationships. That's not what I would think was my forte. And we struggled for 3 days, and finally the Lord won. But then He made me 3 promises. So I want to share the 3 promises that God made me that convinced me to write the book. And the first thing He told me was that it would help His people for the end times. And I needed a scriptural proof for it. So He made me read all of Matthew 22 to the end, 22 to 28. 9 chapters of Matthew 28. 9 chapters in Matthew 22 to 28. There are 9 chapters there, 8 chapters, I beg your pardon. I was blown away to discover how relationship is vital for the end times. It's absolutely vital for the end times. One of the greatest mistakes that we will make in these end times is to isolate ourselves, and He gave me about 7 reasons why relationship is vital to the end times. First of all, if the love of many will wax cold in the end times, you need to be with iron that can sharpen iron, and the closest iron that can sharpen iron is if you find a partner that is on fire for God like you are. And then the second reason He gave me was that there are things that we would be going through, and it is better if we went through them as a group of people instead of going through them alone. And that really just blessed me. I think Psalm 66 says He sets the solitary, He gives the rebellious dwell in a dry land, but He sets the solitary in family. And what that ultimately means is that by the end times, people will be in need, and in need of companionship, in need of friendship. And it said that 2022 is the loneliest year of humanity. Can you believe that? 2022 is the loneliest year of humanity. Well, so, excuse me, maybe I'm going to have to write a book and give all these reasons that God gave me. But chapters 22 to 28 of Matthew revealed to me just so much. Even Jesus Himself said, if you're down on the mountain, don't come back up. And what literally that means, family, is your attachment, keep running. And He says 2 will be on the field, 1 will be taken. You see 2 again, and He says 2 will be on the bed, 1 will be taken. These are specific words from the Lord about how the end time will affect humanity. And so it becomes pertinent to begin to wonder what God is trying to say by that. And then He told me, He said, because I intend for humanity to survive the end times by coming together. And in John chapter 17 and 18, Jesus prayed for His disciples when He was dying. He said that they would be one, because it was important that the way we would survive what chaos will be thrown at humanity will be by having partnership, by being friends, by being a community. Hallelujah. That just blesses me to say that. Well, the second reason God gave me was, He said, healing. He said, my people need the word that would heal. And there's a lot of need for emotional healing. And so one of the things my book does is that it shows you things that will bring you healing. Man or woman, grown up or youth, male or female, young or old, whichever classification you want to give yourself, this book is going to bring you healing. I promise you that. You're going to read things in this book. One of my friends, I wish I could read what he said. He said when I gave him 2 or 3 chapters of the book to read, he said every line he read, he just kept on saying yes, yes, yes. Yes, it was like was confirming everything she had been going through, and she just wanted something from the Word to help her about it. But God promised me that reading this book, people will begin to experience deliverance, experience freedom. The things that have held you back from being you, from accomplishing the things you wanted to accomplish, the things that have held you back from enjoying true intimacy and love and relationship, the things that have held you back from enjoying romance as a Christian, you're going to be set free from it. Some of us don't know that you need to be set free from some of the things that hold you. You know, your backpack, your backpack is in symbiosis with you. If you know what I'm talking about, your baggages of your backpack is in symbiosis with you. And by that, what I mean is this: you've got to put your hand in to the hand of the backpack, and then you straddle it behind you, right? But then there's no way to let go. You both of you have to let go. Your backpack has to let go of you, and you've got to let go of your backpack. But a lot of people think they can just yank the backpack away from their back. You can't yank your baggages away from you. Some baggages require deliverance and healing. And so this book is going to bring you healing. I probably would have a workbook that would follow this sometimes very soon, so that you can begin to meticulously examine yourself and make notes and journal about what God is showing you, so that you can begin to purify yourself and cleanse yourself and just clean up, and get yourself ready for good relationship. And sometimes one of the greatest delay, these two things are the greatest delay to relationship, the greatest delay to marriage. Number one is healing. God is not going to like you to take your hurt and then vent it on a child of his that deserves better. You know what I'm saying? So when you deserve better, God is not going to let somebody who is carrying a baggage of hurt come into your life and vent their hurt. They say hurt people hurt people. Bleeding people bleed on other people. Hello. So God is not going to let people walk into your life or let you walk into other people's lives if you're not healed, if they are not healed. And so the second promise he made me is that this would bring healing. And so I had these three things in mind when I was writing this book. I was writing it and I was feeling God help people understand the need for unity, for love, for relationships in the end times, and also help people find healing. Stubborn issues, and like just in the first chapter, I dealt with it's called rejection dysphoria, and which is the state of feeling rejected with everything. And I teach Christians on how to handle it, how to identify it in your life, and mark what it does to you, and then how to overcome it. And it's such a blessing. Then I also deal with vulnerability, how to become vulnerable. And one of the reasons why we are not vulnerable, or as we should be, is because first of all, we haven't realized how vulnerability helps our faith. And then secondly, we haven't realized how vulnerability is an act of love, and so we, because of our failures, because of our rejections in the past, we always tend to run away from vulnerability. But I want to help you figure out, I want to help you find what God wants you to find, especially with regards to vulnerability. It's such a, you don't want to miss this. I think it's in the second chapter of this book. You're going to really, really enjoy it. The third thing that the Lord promised me is he said, my people won't be single anymore. See, when you get healing and then you get deliverance, you can be sure you're ready to marry. There will not be a delay anymore in your life the moment these two things have happened to you: emotional healing and deliverance. The moment these two things have happened in your life, you are qualified and ready for relationship and marriage immediately. Any delay is something you can rebuke and cast out and destroy it right away. But before that, every delay has a reason. And so I want to guarantee you that reading this book is going to open your eyes in such a way that you will be so blessed, and you'll begin to walk in deliverance and walk in emotional healing. And that will automatically bring you to a place where you begin to see yourself ready for marriage. I talk about why a lot of Christians are not finding their partners these days. I talk about why pastors, prophetesses, women of God, great men of God are comfortable being single, even though deep inside, a lot of them are struggling with, I need a partner in my life, but how do I settle down to find this partner? How do I look for this partner? And it becomes really difficult. The most beautiful, the most gorgeous, the most handsome, the most anointed, the most wonderful young single servants of God, men and women, are single for some reason, and every one of them is looking for somebody to fall in love with, somebody to give their heart to, and somebody to match up together and work together with, but they can't find. I want to guarantee you that reading this book is going to open your eyes like nothing else has. A lot of you struggle with, relationships where you get in and then it breaks up, and then you get in and it breaks up, or you keep falling in love with the wrong people, or you keep just loving people and then realizing you love the wrong one, or you weren't the right one, or just keeps going wrong. I'm going to show you how to put an end to that. This first chapter actually does so much about that, and we're just in chapter 1 of Song of Solomon. You don't want to miss it. Every verse of chapter 1, I dig deep into it, at least 3 pages for each verse of chapter 1, exposing what God is talking about. And I'm going to do some podcast on those and just show you the amazing things God showed me. And I want to say this as I close this: I'm not a relationship expert, so I'm not here to talk to you about relationship, but I'm here to speak prophetically about what God showed me from the Song of Solomon. All I'm doing is bringing the scriptures to you. One of the reasons why I struggled with the Lord to write this book is, first of all, I didn't think it was my calling. And then secondly, I didn't think I was very successful with relationship. I knew a lot of things, but I wasn't seeing that play out in my life. And then God convinced me to, and I'll share this. One of the ways God convinced me was, he asked me one day, he said, who are the 3 people that influence your knowledge about relationship in the Bible? And I thought about it, and I said, Jesus, of course. How much did Jesus say about marriage, actually? But Jesus, of course, yes. And then who else wrote about marriage in the Bible? New Testament? Paul, of course, Apostle Paul. And then the next person that talks a lot about relationship, actually wrote one book on relationship or on love, is Solomon. So 3 people: Solomon, Paul, Jesus. And he asked me a question: what's common about all of them? First of all, their relationships were really crazy. Jesus was never in a relationship, never got married. Same with Paul. And then Solomon married 1,000 women, 300 wives and 700 wives and 300 concubines. And each of them should, by our yardstick and standard, not be qualified to talk to us about relationship. Because nowadays, the best marriage counselors are those who have had the best marriages, right? And it looks to be like when they say, oh, I've been married for 70 years, woo, we clap. I don't mean to put that down, but it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank God for that. But God had to make me die to that to be able to bring this book. And that was one of the healings I found. I died to certain failures before God brought me to the place of writing this book. And you're going to learn that dying to certain things is going to be the birthing of the new things that God will want to do in you. So thank you again for watching. Please subscribe, please follow, please find us on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please subscribe to this podcast so that you get the updates whenever they come. They're going to be this short so that they can bless you, and it's not going to be something you have to sit down and listen to for a very long time. And the atmosphere is going to change. I'm being a bit sober now because I just finished preaching and I'm still a bit drunk, so I'm not talking as lively and passionately as relationships talks should be. But thank you for listening, and I pray God blesses you, blesses your heart, and begins to give you the heart of a true lover. God bless you.